Good evening. The chair is calling this regular meeting of the McLean County Board to order on this Thursday, April 11th. And we're going to begin with a invocation or moment of silence, and our Vice Chair, Elizabeth Johnston, will be doing that. Please rise.
In a time where many lands are ravaged by death and destruction, we are blessed with opportunities to work together. Our community deserves our commitments to securing solutions for a better future. We would do well to remember the words of Jenny Shipley that peace is a fragile thing. It takes courage to secure it, and it takes wisdom to maintain it. Tonight I bring a poem by Stefan Amari. In the land of the east where the sun rises high, a war rages on with no end in sight. The drums of war beat loud and clear as nations clash and lives disappear. But what is this war but a battle of pride? A struggle for power with no end in sight. The blood that spills on the battlefield, is it worth the cost of this endless ordeal? For what is gained by this endless strife but a world filled with pain and the end of life? For in this world we all share one fate, and to fight amongst ourselves is a grave mistake. Let us lay down our arms and embrace each other, for only then can we truly discover the beauty of life that lies within us all, and build a world where peace will never fall. Thank you.
Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our county clerk, Kathy Michael, will be having a call to order, roll call.
Randall Knapp. Here. Val Lehman.
Present.
Adam Reeves. Here. Jim Rogow. Here. Natalie Roseman Mendoza. Here. Susan Schaefer.
Here.
James Solner. Here. Jeff Tompkins. Here. George Wendt, absent. Crystal Abel.
Present.
Jack Abraham.
Present.
Corey Byrne.
Present.
Beverly Bell. Present. Lindsay Bloomfield.
Present.
Leah Klein.
Present.
Chuck Erickson.
Present.
William John Friedrich.
Present.
Eric Hansen.
Present.
Elizabeth Johnston.
Here.
Catherine Metzger.
Present. We have a quorum. We have 19 members present. We do not have any appearances by members of the public or county employees in reference to an agenda item. So we will move on to number 6, and I have a consent agenda. May I have a motion to accept the consent agenda? Member Abraham is making that motion, and I need a second for that. We have a second by Reeves.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I would like to recuse myself from, one moment, sorry, let me pull it up. 6E.
4. B.
4B, thank you.
Yes, okay, that's good.
As it affects my place of employment.
Very
Thank you.
good. So one abstention from the historical marker on the old courthouse square. Are there any other abstentions or any discussion? All in favor of the consent agenda, say aye. Aye. Opposed? We have no opposition. That motion passes. The consent agenda passes. Then we will be moving on then to the standing committees. Number 7. Oh, I forgot. We have a couple of things that we need to address, so thank you very much for reminding me of that. We have some resolutions, so 6G, and we have a resolution of congratulations to Bentley Wise. And I believe Member Erickson will be taking this. Mr. Wise is from Olympia, and he is a state wrestling champion.
All right, I was asked to do this because I wrestled in high school. So I went and I looked this up a little bit, and I wanted to do more than just read a resolution. I wanted to read a little tribute to him because I think he's earned it. Wrestling is a very difficult sport. He told me that he started at age 5 and he has ended his high school career as a state champion, so that's pretty impressive. Bentley Wise is a formidable athlete from Olympia High School who achieved a remarkable feat in the world of high school wrestling. He clinched the Class 1A State Wrestling Championship in the 150-pound weight class. His victory was hard fought, and it came after a thrilling final against Blue Bishop of Heron, where Wise showcased his strategic prowess and unwavering determination. This achievement not only highlighted his indomitable skills, but also ended a 23-year wait for Olympia High School, which hadn't seen a state champion since Coach Josh Collins triumphed in 2001. And the coach is here too. So the event took place on February 18th, 2024, and the echoes of victory reverberated through the wrestling community. Wise's path to the podium demanded relentless hard work, discipline, and an unwavering spirit. His journey through the tournament was marked by strategic acumen and physical resilience, culminating in a thrilling finale against Blue Bishop. This match was a nail-biter, with Wise taking control through a blend of tactical brilliance and sheer willpower. Beyond being a personal achievement, Bentley Wise's victories signifies a renewal of legacy for Olympia High School. It rekindles the flames of championship glory that Coach Josh Collins first ignited in 2001. As Wise etches his name in history, he sets the stage for the next generation of wrestlers, challenging them to surpass his achievements and continue the proud legacy of Olympia High School. Let's give him another round of applause. After the match, he was so excited that he picked up his coach by the waist and threw him on the mat. So, after I get done reading this resolution, please don't pick me up by the waist and throw me down, okay? All right, resolution of congratulations. Whereas the McLean County Board wishes to recognize the outstanding performance by Olympia High School wrestler Bentley Wise during the 2023-2024 wrestling season. And whereas Bentley Wise finished his senior year wrestling in the 150-pound weight class with a 44-8 record and a career record of 130-32. And whereas Bentley Wise was second at the Illinois Bluffs tournament, third at the Civic Memorial tournament, second at the Pontiac tournament, first at the unit tournament, third at the Princeton Invitational, first in regional, first in sectional, and first in state. And whereas Bentley Wise was first in the Sangamo Conference, received the Chuck Murdoch All-Area Award, and served as a team captain. And whereas it is appropriate and fitting for the McLean County Board to recognize and congratulate Bentley Wise on his performance and accomplishments. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the members of the McLean County Board that Bentley Wise is to be congratulated on winning the 2024 IHSA Class A 150-pound individual state championship, wrestling championship, and an outstanding season, adopted by the McLean County Board this 14th day of March 2024. Congratulations. You want to say anything? No? All right. Good job. Yep.
We also have a resolution for Child Abuse Prevention Month, and I believe that Natalie Roseman Mendoza will be presenting that to Molly Evans and her staff. Oh, with Eric Hansen, very good.
So as Chair Metzger pointed out, April is Child Abuse Prevention Month. I'm very thankful to call these folks coming up here, some former colleagues of mine having previously worked with CASA. But since 1995, the Children's Advocacy Center and CASA have been serving our community, providing critical services. If you are unfamiliar with both of these organizations, they do fantastic work. The Children's Advocacy Center is a child-friendly place where children who have experienced or witnessed abuse are able to be supported in a variety of ways. I think one of the most critical ways that we recognize is through the initial forensic interview. We have trained interviewers who are able to ask questions to children who have gone through objectively the most horrific thing a child can go through. These questions are geared towards finding information for all sorts of varieties of sources, police officers, lawyers, our advocates themselves, who are then able to continue to work. But this allows a child to only have to tell their story once. And when a child has gone through something as horrific as abuse, it's critical that they don't have to relive that trauma. We also have some fantastic advocates in there who are doing the daily work of following up and filling in the gaps, making sure that the work is done so that these children are truly taken care of within our legal system. And of course, we have Feta here who is able to provide emotional support for them, but we have therapy, so many countless services that come through the Children's Advocacy Center. Additionally, through CASA, it's a volunteer-focused organization. The volunteers get to know the children who are in foster care, whether that be a single child or a sibling group. They are able to get to know the biological parents, the foster parents, the teachers, the therapists, everybody, the caseworkers who are changing. And when so much is changing in a child's life who's in foster care, a volunteer is able to be there as the constant advocate. The work that these two organizations do is truly, truly priceless, and we are so very lucky to have them. And with that, I will turn it over to Natalie to read a proclamation.
Thank you, Eric. Thank you so much. The McLean County Board proclamation proclaiming April as Child Abuse Prevention Month in McLean County. Whereas child abuse and neglect is an important societal concern that affects the long-term health and well-being of children by impacting a child's personality, development, mental health, academic success, and interpersonal relationships as they grow and develop. And whereas nationally, an estimated 600,000 children were victims of abuse and neglect in 2021. And whereas the Illinois Department of Children and Family Services investigated 94,525 cases of suspected child abuse and neglect in fiscal year 23. And whereas the National Children's Alliance and other leading organizations suggest that child abuse is underreported. And whereas the Child Advocacy Center and other county agencies, McLean County schools, and community partners work together to offer programs and services to strengthen resilience and protect children from abuse and neglect. And whereas child abuse prevention is a community responsibility, and everyone has a stake in finding solutions and ensuring that children have access to the resources and support they need to be safe, healthy, and successful. And whereas all McLean County residents, community agencies, faith groups, and businesses are encouraged to renew their commitment to preventing child abuse, supporting families, and promoting safety, family resilience, and child well-being. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the McLean County Board declares April 2024 as Child Abuse Prevention Month in McLean County, adopted by the McLean County Board this 14th day of March 2024.
Thank you. Thank you to the entire board for this proclamation. We do believe that every child deserves to grow up in a safe, loving home that is free of abuse and neglect. During April, we wear blue, we plant pinwheels, and we plan other events throughout the community simply to raise awareness and provide education and resources. However, the reality is that's something we should be doing all year round. So we hope that as a community, we can come together to strengthen families and support our kids in order to prevent child maltreatment. So Eric did a fantastic job of just highlighting the Children's Advocacy Center and CASA program, and our CASA team is at a separate event tonight, but I did want to take a second just to recognize the team of the Children's Advocacy Center here. This group of dedicated professionals, they are fantastic, and they do really, really great work on really difficult cases. So they show up day in and day out, truly making it their priority to provide the best possible services for child victims and their families in McLean County. So thank you again.
Thank you very much. We do have a standing committees, reports, and some business we need to address, and we're going to start with the Executive Committee and Vice Chair Elizabeth Johnston.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The Executive Committee has 6 items that we have for action. The first item is 7A1A, and that is request approval of an emergency appropriation ordinance amending the McLean County fiscal year 2024 combined annual appropriation and budget ordinance for the BHCC, and I so move.
I need a second for that. I have a second by Member Byrne. And this does require a 2/3 vote for passage. Is there any discussion or review? Seeing none, all in favor of the emergency appropriation for the BHCC, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion passes. And then the floor is again yours, Vice Chair.
Thank you. The next item up, we have 7A1B. We actually have the rules broken into 2 sections. This is request approval of an ordinance of the McLean County Board to amend Chapter 20, Sections 2, 3, 4, 11A, 11H sub 1, 12E, 12I, 13G subsection 2, 13G subsection 3, 13H, 13L, 16F subsection 7 and 8, and 20G of the McLean County Code, County Board Rules of the McLean County Code, and I so move.
And I need a second for that. I have a second by Member Bell.
So just a quick comment, because we have it broken into 2 sections, these were items that were passed unanimously at the Rules Committee the first and the second time.
Thank you. Is there any discussion? Questions? Seeing none, all in favor of the amending the Chapter 20, the sections that were listed by Vice Chair Johnston, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion passes. The floor is again yours, Vice Chair Johnston.
Thank you. This is item 7A1C. This is a request approval of an ordinance of the McLean County Board to amend Chapter 20, Sections 10A1, 10I, 11D, 11E, 13K, 19, and 20D of the McLean County Code, the rules of the McLean County Board, and I so move.
I need a second for that. A second by Crystal Abel, Member Abel. Discussion. Chairman or Chair Erickson, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. At the Rules Subcommittee and at the Executive Committee, these items were broken out individually. I just want to indicate for the record that I did support 11D. So I just want to indicate that for the record, but I'll be voting no.
Any other discussion? Yes.
Just a quick comment. So these were brought forward. Many of these are amending the rules to set some specific time limits so that the staff and the county board will have adequate time to review things for action items and resolutions, ordinances. If you have questions, I'm happy to answer them, but this was passed with a large majority in exec to bring it to the county board tonight. Thank you.
Any other comments or discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of the change to Chapter 20 in those sections again that were outlined by Vice Chair Johnston, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
One opposition vote. The motion does pass. We will now move on, and Ms. Johnson, Vice Chair Johnson, you have the floor again.
All right, the next item is 7A1D. This is request approval of the resolution of the McLean County Board adopting the 2024 legislative program for McLean County, and I so move.
And I need a second on that. We have a second by Member Solner. Discussion. And Chair Erickson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would like to make an amendment to this. It's on page 251, topic HB 4600. In regards to recommendation, I would ask that it be changed to support amendment of HB 4600, Family Farms Preservation Act, to raise the Illinois estate tax exemption to the federal estate tax exemption.
And I need a second on that. We have a second on that amendment, and that would be our Vice Chair Johnston. Any discussion? So we do have an amendment to raise that, or to identify that we would like to raise that to the federal exemption. Yes, Chair Klein.
I was going to help you out. Just to make sure, could you repeat that, the wording again, Member Erickson? And you're having this under the recommendation, not the topic, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
It was worded, support amendment of HB 4600, Family Farms Preservation Act, to raise the Illinois estate tax exemption to the federal estate tax exemption.
So this will only be on the recommendation section. Yes, Member Bell.
I thought we were trying to adhere to what the feds were doing, but the state of Illinois doesn't always meet up to the feds. What if we have a recession? What if we don't have a positive year? You're trying to raise it up what the government's going to do, and you know the government's going to come in at the last hour to give you the money or give you the fees. So what are we doing here?
Vice Chair Johnston.
Thank you. So we'd had a heated discussion on Monday about what this meant, and we know that the $4 million is not the same as it was decades ago. And so what we're trying to do is to give greater protection for families who are passing from one generation to the other. The concern I had about tying it to the federal is that it is currently set, the larger amount is currently set. It will sunset at the end of '25, and it would drop it below the $6 million. But after the long discussion, I went back and did more research. If it sunsets, which Member Erickson thinks that it will not, he thinks I'll extend it. If it sunsets, they will take that 5.6, bring it up by inflation, should land at somewhere between 7 and 7.25 million. And so therefore the federal tax would give more protection for the smaller family farms who are trying to keep it within the family. So what we're trying to do is just make sure that we have the same protections at the state and as we have at the federal.
Any other discussion or questions? All right, seeing none, we are voting on the amendment to the recommendation on the section related to the family farms. All in favor of that amendment made by Member Erickson and seconded by our Vice Chair Johnston, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That amendment passes. Now we are going to vote on 7A1D, and that is the resolution to adopt the 2024 legislative program. Any more discussion on that? Seeing none, all in favor of the adopting legislative program, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion passes. The floor is again yours, Vice Chair Johnston.
Thank you. The next item on our agenda is 7A1E, and that is request approval of an ordinance by the McLean County Board amending Chapter 108, personnel policies and procedures of the McLean County Code, and I so move.
And I need a second. I have a second by Member Abel. Any discussion? Seeing no discussion, we are going to vote on amending that Chapter 108 of the Personnel Policies and Procedures. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion passes. And the floor is again yours.
Thank you.
Vice Chair Johnston.
Thank you. The next item up is 7A1F, which is a request approval of an amendment to the employment agreement with the county administrator, and that has been distributed. However, given the potential complications of having a closed session, I am asking that we move this item under item 8 on the agenda, if there's no objections. And that would put it at the end of the meeting.
It would be 9.
I'm sorry, 9.
Yeah, you had mentioned 9,
I
yes.
did mean 9. That's
So we are not going to address this because we do believe that we need to go into closed session. Therefore, instead of delaying the meeting and we've got other business, we're going to move that to Section 9, and we will stay after everyone else leaves. All right? So based on that.
That is all the items that we have. We do have our general report, and our minutes can be found in the unapproved packet, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Very good. We will move to 7B, and that's a Finance Committee, and we have Chair William Friedrich.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Finance Committee brings no action items before the full board, and our general report can be found in the unapproved minutes, pages 17 through 26 in the unapproved minutes. And I'd be happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Seeing no questions, we will go to 7C, and that's Health Committee, and that's Chairman Susan Schaefer.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. The Health Committee did not meet this month, so we have no items for action, and we do not have a general report. Thank you.
That moves us to 7D, and that's Justice Committee and Chairman Chuck Erickson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The Justice Committee has no items for action. Our general report can be found in the unapproved minutes.
All right, we will move to 7E, and that is our Chair for the Property Committee, Val Lehman.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The Property Committee has 2 items to be presented for action this evening. Items 7E, 1A, and B. I'd like to request that we take those together if appropriate.
We can, just so everyone knows, that 7B will require a 2/3 vote because we are amending that annual appropriation budget. All right? So yes, please proceed.
So item number 7E, 1A is the request approval of a grant agreement between the State of Illinois Department of Natural Resources and McLean County. 7E, 1B is a request approval of an emergency appropriation ordinance amending the McLean County fiscal year 2024 combined annual appropriation and budget ordinance. That's the IDNR grant, and I so move.
And I need a second. I have a second by Member Tompkins. Is there any discussion or any questions? Yes, Member Solner.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I just wanted to comment that this project's been long in the happening. It's went on for quite a while, and I'm happy to see the progress being made now. I know I believe it was in 2018 or 2019, Chairman McIntyre, former Administrator Wasson, and myself traveled to Farmer City to meet with a group there, including Senator Chapin Rose at the time. And I think this would be a boon to the southeastern part of the county, my area, as well as, the southern part of Bloomington Normal. And it's good to see that this is a public-private cooperation, and that as long as we keep getting the private part, looks like obviously the Friends of the Trail, the McLean County Wheelers, Lake Run Club, Prairie Bird Alliance, and others. I'm happy to support this again because it shows that the public thinks it's a good idea. They're willing to spend money, and so it's not always that we get that. A lot of times things like this get ramrodded by government groups, and so I'm a avid supporter of this, and I'm glad to see that it's went this far. Now, obviously, it's going to take a lot more money as we go along, and hopefully these private groups will still be willing to pony up. So I'm supporting this. Thank you.
Very good. Any other comments? Seeing none, we're going to be voting on the IDNR grant agreement, as well as the change to the appropriations for the IDNR on our budget. All in favor of those two items, say aye. Opposed? That motion passes. The floor is again your Chair Lehman.
Thank you again, Madam Chair. The Property Committee has no other items to be presented for action. Our items to be presented for information include the general report, which can be found on pages 27 to 29 in the unapproved minutes packet, and be happy to answer any additional questions.
All right, seeing no other questions, we will move to 7F, and that's Land Use and Development Committee, and we have Chair Leah Klein.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. Excuse me. The Land Use and Development Committee brings one item for action this evening. 7F 1A, request approval of a cost sharing for Dropbox Recycling Program intergovernmental agreement, and I so move.
And I need a second on that. We have a second by Member Hanson. And is there any discussion? Yes, Member Solner.
Thank you. So I was wondering, and unfortunately I can't remember, but does anyone know, administration or anyone, what we paid in the past? Is this the same amount that we paid in the past, or has it went up some?
I believe our administrator is going to address that.
I am not prepared with the exact figures, but it is a slight increase from our previous contract of 3 years ago.
Okay. And again, I know I've kind of been an opponent of this in the past, not a strong opponent, but an opponent. This, to me, the issue has been, in my mind, is that we're spending taxpayers' money for people that live in Bellflower and Saybrook and Colfax that may not necessarily use this. Now, they have the opportunity to bring their recycling things to Bloomington, and there's places to drop off, and I know some people do, but when it gets to a point where it gets really cost prohibitive, I'm going to have to look at it differently. But at this point, I'll support it, but it just lukewarm support, I guess. Thank you.
Are there any other comments or questions? Yes, Member Bell.
I disagree with you. Why should you have to bring your trash from Bellflower into Bloomington and Normal and dump it someplace else for recycle? I think it's a great idea, and we're not using our personal vehicles to haul trash. And just because they live in Bellflower doesn't mean that they have to burn it in the backyard in a can like they used to in the old days. It's not safe. It's toxic. So I will support this.
Any other comments? All right. All in favor of the Dropbox Recycling Intergovernmental Agreement, say aye. Aye. Opposed? That motion passes. The floor is again yours, Chair Klein.
Thank you so much, Chairwoman Metzger. The Land Use and Development Committee has no other items for action this evening, but our general report has been provided in the unapproved minutes. And I'll answer any questions if people have them.
Thank you very much. Transportation Committee, 7G, and Chairman Jim Rogel.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The Transportation Committee brings one item for action tonight. 7G1A, request approval of an emergency appropriation ordinance amending the McLean County fiscal year 2024 combined annual appropriation and budget ordinance for the McLean County Highway Fund 0120, and I so move.
And I need a second. I have a second by Member Knapp. Any questions or discussion? This does require a 2/3 vote since it is the appropriation and budget. So seeing no additional questions, all in favor of the emergency appropriation for Highway Fund 0120, say aye. Aye. Opposed? That motion passes unanimously. And Chairman Rogel, the floor is yours again.
Thank you. We have no other items to be presented for action. Our general report can be found on pages 4 through 8 of the unapproved minutes, and I can answer any questions.
Thank you very much. We are at 7H, and that is our County Administrator, Cassie Taylor. And Ms. Taylor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have no items to present to the board this evening.
All right, that moves us to number 8, and that's appearances of members of the public and county employees in reference to an item not on the agenda. And we have 5 individuals who would like to speak. They will have 3 minutes. We will ask that they would come to the microphone over here. There is a 3-minute timer on the screen that will help you. And we will start. They are according to how people called in, that order. And Willie Halbert, you are first. And welcome.
I'd like to say good evening to McLean County Board, its members, and to everyone present. My name is Willie Houghton Halbert. I've lived in this community for over 45 years plus. My friend, sister in the Lord, Terry Evans, and her son, Trayvon, who's sitting right there, went to vote on I believe it was the last day of voting. Was it March 19th? At about 5:45. Trayvon, who has been voting since 2008, primary, general election, never a problem. He would go vote. The moment that Terry found out that he had a right to vote according to the United States law, federal law, and Illinois law, it states that cerebral palsy individuals can vote with the assistance of an individual. Terry has guardianship over her son. She went to vote, got her ballot, and went over to vote. They both voted. As she proceeded to leave, the judge stopped her and asked her, the polling judge said, did you assist him with his vote? She replied, yes. Then she proceeded to say, well, do you have papers to prove that you have guardianship? Of course, she did not. She has not since 2008, has never been asked for it, never been needed. And she said, no, but he's voted ever since 2008. Why is this now an issue? So then they said, well, and all the other individuals said, well, why don't you accept his ballot? Some of the other staff that was working there, she refused. And she decided, well, she said, let me call Kathy. So she called Kathy allegedly and was advised that she would need to do an affidavit and then take the ballot and put in a provisional thing and then process it through. Then Terry stopped and she thought, wait a minute, I do have the guardianship. I had taken pictures of it and she had it on her phone. So she proceeded then to show her the guardianship paper signed by the attorney and the judge, showed it to her, and she said, oh, how'd you get this here? I took pictures of it. I have copies of this on my phone. Then she said, let me call Kathy again. So she then called Kathy, I believe the clerk, county clerk, and was told again, no, you cannot accept this, and that he would have to go through that process. He has all rights and privileges as anyone else to vote. That he or Terry was put through that type of embarrassment, and even there's no law that I'm aware of. If there is, McLean County has a law that says every time they vote now, they have to show paperwork to show her guardianship. We would love to see where that is. But other than that, his all rights and privileges, Trayvon should have been able to vote, not have been harassed, not have been discriminated against, not in our town, and not in McLean County. Thank you.
Thank you. Please. Thank you. Terry Milligan Evans, you are next. Welcome.
Thank you. This is Mr. Trayvon Milligan, and I am Terry Evans. And this is my son, in whom I have guardianship of. As it was stated already, he has always voted. I have always assisted him to be faced with the discriminatory behavior that I was approached with after leaving out of the booth was humiliating, it was disheartening, and I was taken back because we had never been approached with such a thing. And as Ms. Holton Halbert stated, it came to mind that I did have documentation, legal documentation, in my phone because I had taken pictures of it, not to go and vote, but we're going on a trip. And so I thought, let me take a picture of it. When I presented it to the woman, let's say that was the rule. I presented it to her and she refused it after asking me for it. So after that, I went ahead and I filled out the affidavit. I was told, I asked what was going to happen with this affidavit. I was told that it was going to be taken downtown to the courts with his ballot, and I would get a call within a few days to a week. I did not. 2 weeks later, I made the phone call. I spoke with a Mark Saunders, and he was blown away by the story as well, but he found that ballot, and he did assure me that it was counted. But how would I have known that had I not made the proper steps and called myself? So I see that there is leaks and cracks in the system, and I'm here to make awareness that this shouldn't have happened. I don't want it to happen to anybody else that has a disability or a senior citizen that is bringing someone with them to assist them to vote, to produce an action or an act that they have a privilege to do. I thought it was disheartening, it was embarrassing. I didn't think that on my own. Some of the volunteers were totally in disagreement with that. So I'm here to bring awareness and to come together to see what it is that we can do to make sure that this does not happen again. Because he will vote again, and I will assist him in voting. So that's what my presence is about here today. I want us to do better in McLean County. Okay?
Thank you. The next person that will be coming forward will be Deborah Johnson. Ms. Johnson, welcome.
Good evening. My name is Deborah Johnson, and I have been a resident of the Bloomington Normal community for some 46 years. And I also am a retired educator, working with the special needs population for more than 38 years. I just retired on last year. I have had the privilege to work with several young individuals with special needs. And to hear about what happened to Trayvon, who I worked with in the Unit 5 school district, it's very disheartening. It's very disheartening because we want equal rights for each individual, and each individual deserves equal rights. And I wanted to say that with the current state of our world, this unrest that's surrounding us now in this world, as a country, as a city, and especially as a community, we need to be striving to do better. We need to realize that what has been done cannot be fixed. What happened to this young man cannot be fixed. We realize that the denial, the shame, and the offense that has already been committed cannot be readily repaired. But what we do realize and what we do know is that each member of the McLean County Board, as well as the election committee, can make it right from this day forward. It is disturbing, it is heartbreaking, and we all need accountability. We all need to strive and work for better communication. We all need to strive and work for better justice. Because, like I said, equal rights is for everyone. So let's work today to start with accountability, transparency, training, especially training, and justice. Thank you so much.
Quorum, please. No applause, please. This is a public meeting. Ricky Lee Beneke, you are next. Welcome, Ms. Beneke.
Wait, okay. Excuse me. My name is, can you hear me? Okay. My name is Ricky Lee Beneke, and I both live and work in McLean County. I'm the executive director of Life Center for Independent Living, or LifeSIL, as we're known. We're a nonprofit human service agency. We're also non-residential, but we're headquartered in Bloomington, and we serve and assist people with all kinds of disabilities of every age to live independently. And we also advocate for disability rights. I'm here tonight to share my concern and frustration about this disturbing situation that we've all just heard about. He's faced a violation of his rights while, you know, a young man of 30-some years old. It's wonderful you're out there voting. Thank you for that. And I just want to make sure that we are able to keep that happening. But sadly, people with disabilities often face discrimination, a lack of accessibility, and often societal stigmas. However, the challenges they encounter can be compounded when they intersect with other aspects of identity. For example, a disabled person who is also a person of color may face both racial discrimination and ableism together. Ableism can take many forms, including the lack of compliance with disability rights laws like the ADA. Voter accessibility laws include allowing people with disabilities to bring someone with them to help them to vote. Period. There are only a few exceptions, but there's no ifs. There's no if you produce proof that you can go in there, they can bring whoever they want, as long as it's not pretty much their boss or union rep. And the Voting Rights Act of 1965 prohibits racial discrimination and later went on to include a large minority group, which people with disabilities, 1 out of 4 in the U.S. We are a major minority group, and we deserve the right to vote just like everybody else. With the presidential election just around the corner, we simply cannot allow discrimination, inaccessibility, or ableism at the polls. As Martin Luther King Jr. so elegantly spoke, injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. I urge all of us to work together. We need to make sure, along with the county clerk's office, to ensure the election judges are properly trained and respect the rights of people with disabilities. Discrimination in any form is unacceptable and inexcusable. Thank you.
Our final speaker is Kathy Michael, and Kathy, you have 3 minutes.
Thanks for the opportunity. And first of all, I'm sorry, Trevon, that you and your mom felt that you had bad service with our election judges. We apologize for that. At the same time, let me say, not that they need defending, but our election judges are very sincere, loyal, trained. They take their jobs very seriously. And never in my 14 years, and Ricky Lee, we have worked together for years, and with our past late Denise Cesario, who was wonderful, and we would welcome and put on Facebook our service to all of you, and that's our dedication, and we will continue to do that. I wasn't going to go here, but I feel I have to, that our judges are trained, some are new, judges make mistakes, but they try to do the right thing, and I will swear to you right now, any discriminatory actions, and I hope that you remember all the things that we have done with services like yours, Ricky Lee. Discrimination is not allowed, will never happen here, and we appreciate you coming forth with your stories. We did reach out to you, and we do continue to invite you to come and talk to us in person. We'll come to your churches, your groups, and address any of these things in person. There are rules to be followed. Sometimes there are judges that take them, everyone should take them seriously, of course, but one of the rules is to provide ID, and I think there was discussion about that. Judges have the opportunity, believe me, I can show you the statutes, and I don't necessarily agree with some of them either. There was a difference in opinion. You know, one judge might feel one way about IDs and read a statute the wrong way. And that's why they have discussions, and we have Republican and Democratic judges. They called our office, which they are supposed to do. I'm not saying, I see the looks out there, I'm not agreeing with those statutes or any of that, but that's why we have discussions with our judges. They call our office, our Republican and Democratic judges in our war room, that we call it, and they were instructed to, Republican and Democratic judges, have them vote provisionally. That means you vote the ballot. So everyone got to vote. You don't walk out of that place, and it's a very strict rule of ours. Everybody gets to vote. That might sound a little weird, but we have checks and balances to make sure that those ballots are correct when they come back in a provisional envelope, and I don't have time to go into great detail. And of course, then, the judges that review those ballots, of course that vote counted, and I think Mark Singer let you know that, Terry, and if not, let me know. So we're very adamant to say that we don't discriminate, and we would like to shut that down quickly. And if we can talk to you about that before you judge us, where Ms. Halbert called me a racist online, I think we should talk about that before things like that happen and before things get out of hand even further. Thank you very much.
Thank you, your time. Thank you. All right. We now will move to other business and communication, and that is going to be to address 7A 1F, and we are going into closed session. So we are asking that all individuals other than, yes, I will have to have a motion to go into closed session. So I need a motion from Member Bloomfield and a second by Member Tompkins. And we will be going into closed session. We will not use microphones. So when we come back out, and I will be reading something, so when we come back out, we will be voting on the amendment for employment agreement for the county administrator. So, and it has been requested for a closed session pursuant to Section 2C1 of the Open Meetings Act 5 ILCS 120-2, subgroup C1, to discuss the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees, specific individuals who serve as independent contractors at the park, recreational or educational setting, or specific volunteers of a public body or legal counsel for the public body, including hearing testimony or complaint lodged against an employee, a specific individual who serves as an independent contractor in a park, recreation, or educational setting, or a volunteer of the public body, or against legal counsel for the public body to determine its validity. And we do have the motion, and we will ask that everyone please leave the room. And as members of the board, you will shut your microphones. We do need to vote. All in favor of going into closed session, say aye. Opposed? The motion passes. We have returned from closed session, so we're back at our regular meeting of the McLean County Board. And so we are at item 7, I have to look at this again, 7A, 1F. And I'm going to let, this is on the executive committee, so we will turn it back over to Vice Chair Johnston.
Thank you. This is a request approval of an amendment to the employment agreement with the county administrator, and I so move.
And I need a second. I have a second by Member Friedrich to my far right. And is there any discussion other than the discussion we had? We can't disclose our discussion previously, but anything else that needs to be said? Seeing nothing, all in favor of amending the employment agreement with our county administrator, say aye. Aye. Opposed? That motion passes unanimously, and I believe if there is no other business or communication, is there anything that anyone needs to share? Seeing none, we are adjourned.